The purpose of this video is to explain some of the reasons why hell is and must be eternal. The first is that sin is infinitely more serious than we could imagine or can think. And the main reason for this is because of who it's against. Every sin ultimately, at its very core, is against God. And God is infinitely worthy of our perfect obedience, infinitely deserving of us giving him perfection. He completely deserves our 100% obedience. So every time we sin, we're sinning not just against a fellow human being who isn't perfect. We're sinning against the perfect, utterly worthy creator and sustainer of the universe and everything in it. So any sin, no matter how small it might seem, is actually very egregious. Second off, sinners do not become neutral in hell. Yes, Philippians 2:9-11 says that every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. But included in that, the verse, it says that everyone in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and under the earth typically is a reference to hell, will confess that Jesus is Lord. And important in that is that demons are also in hell. So that means demons will also confess that Jesus is Lord. And in many interactions between demons and Jesus, they confess that he's Lord, or they acknowledge that he is Lord. So just because someone confesses that Jesus is in fact Lord doesn't mean that they're repentant, or that they're saved, or that they believe, or that they accept him as their mediator. Mediator meaning like someone who goes in between. So Jesus being our mediator is that he is like the middleman between us and God, and he presents our case to God rather than us having to, and him taking the burden that we deserved. Third, Revelation 14:11 says that non-believers, those people in hell, as well as the devil and the Antichrist, they will be they'll be tormented forever and ever in hell. And the phrase "forever and ever" is basically a way to say eternally, for all time, infinitely, like it's eternal. Fourthly, in many verses, heaven and hell are contrasted, like in the same sentence, or in the same phrase, or in the same section, where the eternality of heaven and hell are put together. For instance, Daniel 12:2, where it talks about some people going to eternal life and others going to eternal contempt. That's in the same sentence. So it would be very odd to say that the eternal life, that eternal is eternal, meaning infinite, but the eternal of eternal contempt just means a long time. That would be very odd. Also, Matthew 25:46, it talks about eternal life and eternal punishment for different people. And then also a large or a significant argument most people make is that the imagery or the wording used to describe hell is talking about destruction or fire or something like that, which burns. And obviously fire, when it burns something, like that's gone. However, destruction, first off, when talking about hell, the imagery used is always in the framework of it being eternal, of the smoke of the judgment continuously rising up before God in heaven, for instance, which is found in Revelation 19:3, or Revelation 14:11 and Luke 16:24, where it talks about that the wicked will have no rest, and that they will be continuously begging for someone just to pour a drop of water to give them some amount of relief from the anguish therein. And then also an analogy has been used regarding a car. If you take a car and you destroy it, the car is ruined. It's destroyed. However, the car still exists. It's not usable. You can't use it as a car. But if you look at a picture of a destroyed car, there is the car there. So destruction doesn't necessitate the cessation of existence. Just because sinners might be destroyed doesn't mean that they cease to exist or are annihilated. It could just mean that they are ruined, that they are beyond repair or something like that. But the biggest reason is that heaven and hell are presented together, almost overwhelmingly so. That to say that hell isn't eternal is also to say that heaven isn't eternal.